Apex Legends is a game with rich characters whose stories only continue to develop season after season, but there's one legend whose mystery only continues to deepen even as we learn more about her past, and that's Dr. Renee Blasey, also known as the legend Wraith, former science pilot with the IMC Ares division, and subject of an experiment that robbed her of all her memories and was only saved because of the actions taken by an alternate reality version of herself, which is crazy enough to think about. However, I think that's far from the strangest thing we have to learn about this enigmatic legend. What's up, you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and today I'm going to be breaking down my theory that Wraith is at least twice as old as we have been led to believe. Not that she's pretending to be 30 when she's actually 60, but rather she's been traveling through time in order to find the person to exact revenge upon. And the clues for this are scattered not only across the previous seasons, but even in previous Respawn titles, with the connection of Wraith's technology and her phase shift to events that happened in Titanfall 2. Let's go ahead and get right into it by discussing the events of the Voidwalker short film that was released last year. In it, we learn the shocking truth that the Wraith we know and love, who currently fights in the Apex games, is in fact from an alternate reality, and only arrived here with the assistance of an alternate version of herself. And for the last 5 years since she escaped, has been trying to discover the secrets of her past. But she's not actually the Wraith I am most interested in. I'm most interested in the Voidwalker Wraith, who saved her in the first place, and where she came from, what her origins are. One of the more subtle clues that Wraith is traveling across time as well as dimensions is the simple fact that she has to wipe a thick layer of dust off of this computer console before powering it on to reveal the operating room where the experimental procedures took place on her. It's clear that it's been quite some time since anything happened in this lab. We also have the appearance of the crypto logo on the hacking program Wraith is using to access the database, and this doesn't coincide with the current Apex Legends timeline. This Voidwalker break-in takes place in the year 2727, when the Syndicate was first preparing King's Canyon to become an arena for the Apex games. That's actually about 3 to 4 years before Taejun Park would have his run-in with the Syndicate, go into exile, and be forced to assume the mantle of the hacker known as Crypto. So it's a mystery as to how this Wraith has access to Crypto's hacking software when he technically doesn't exist yet. There's also the seemingly advanced technology she's equipped with, from the suit that I could guess gives her extended exposure to the void, and the wrist-mounted device that bears a striking similarity to a piece of technology from Titanfall 2, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Another clue that leads me to believe Voidwalker Wraith has been traveling through time are the huge differences between the world she comes from and the world she goes to. We just saw her in a defunct, broken down lab that clearly hadn't been used in years, yet we see her arrive at a place that is fully staffed and completely operational. She even makes a comment, kind of shocked that the IMC is still here in this world. She is also a Wraith that is fully confident in her abilities, and the one she meets is a Wraith who appears to have just had the operation done to her and has no idea how to take advantage of the voices that she hears in her head. However, Voidwalker Wraith teaches her untrained counterpart how to use those powers, in addition to giving her the wrist-mounted device that allows her to open the portals in the first place. And if we go ahead and analyze the origins of this technology, we find a connection between this portal and the arc reactor and fold weapon technologies found back in Titanfall 2. There's this information that we received talking about the reasons they tried to conduct these experiments in the first place. They were trying to recreate readings from the device recovered in the Typhon explosion and combined it with experimental technology designed in the Outlands. If you don't know what the arc reactor and fold weapon are, back in Titanfall 2, the Ares division was attempting to put an end to the Frontier War by using this massive super weapon in order to destroy the entire militia home planet of Harmony. Thankfully, these plans were thwarted by the heroic sacrifice of the Titan known as BT-7274, who detonated his own reactor next to the power source of the fold weapon, which caused a chain reaction large enough to destroy the entire planet of Typhon. However, before that, it appears that scientists were able to evacuate the planet with several pieces of important technology. Official Titanfall lore states that Ash herself, the Simulacrum, was recovered from the planet before its destruction, and it also appears that the time travel device used earlier in the game may have been recovered and may even be the device that Wraith and her colleagues were attempting to recreate the readings of. In fact, there's extreme similarities between the animation for using this time travel device and the animation Wraith uses to enter her Void Walk ability. It's this very similar fist clenching motion, and I highly doubt it was an accident that it was made so similar. We also have the recent revelation from our last season's kind of wrap-up comics that Mirage's mom, who used to work for the IMC, also appears to have worked with Wraith in some capacity as well, as she has in her old files, her old paperwork, Renee Blazy's personnel file. And one of the other curious factors about this information we were given is that her birthday seems to be extremely purposely covered up. It says that she found out her birthday, she knows her date of birth, but we don't get to find that out. We never actually see that information. So her true age, when she was actually born, remains a mystery to us. And it seems awfully strange that a girl who's nearly the same age as Mirage would have actually worked with her mom when she was with the IMC. Let's just take a quick look at that time. The IMC appears to have left the Outlands somewhere around the year 2715. It's stated that there was a communication blackout and a final battle happened just a few months after that. So IMC haven't been around in Apex World for about 18 years or so, which means Mirage's mother had not worked for them for at least that amount of time. So it's been at least 18 years since she had potentially worked with Wraith, which is all of this leads me to believe that Wraith is not from the same time as the Apex games. She comes from maybe actually about 30 years ago, maybe around the same time when Mirage's mom worked for the IMC. I can see no other reason that she would have such inconsistency in her past, in her background. The Wraith that we know, who is currently finding out about her past, isn't even from this dimension. So it's really going to be curious to see how her story evolves over time. And I can't wait to find out even more about this enigmatic character's history. Speaking of which, if you guys want to dive into the secret history of Olympus or how the rocket from World's Edge was built for Horizon, click the videos you see on your screen right now. And I'll see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and I'm out.